Hey guys! If you didn't just watch my last video, which most likely you did, I explained I'm gonna do the MCU movie timeline! Yay! Reviewing every single MCU movie, one MCU movie a day up to Avengers Endgame! So if you didn't watch the last video, a few things to expect. One, there will be spoilers for this and every single other MCU movie I review. I'm gonna review the whole product. Like, I'm not gonna just review the outline and a few certain moments. I'm gonna review everything. Two, these are my opinions, so if you disagree with them, too bad. They're my opinions. You can have yours, I can have mine. And three, there's gonna be I'm gonna explain them as stated before in release date order, not in chronological timeline, in release date. So, with that out of the way, Iron Man. This film was directed by Jon Favreau and stars Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, a billionaire philanthropist playboy who was the son of famous Howard Stark. We'll get to him in another review, and and makes his money off selling weapons. He's generally cocky, arrogant, and doesn't give a shit for the people around him, including his best friend James Rhodes, or War Machine, as we'll see in later films, played in this movie by Terrence Howard, and his secretary slash love interest, Pepper Potts, played by Gwyneth Paltrow. In this film, Tony Stark goes to Afghanistan to show his new weapon system, but along the way he is kidnapped by terrorists and put into a cave to make a weapon. But instead of making missiles and a weapon for them, he, along with another scientist who were kidnapped, make a suit. Not the Iron Man suit exactly, another suit that they make. And they use that suit to escape the terrorists. And after the guy, spoiler by the way, sacrifices his life to save Tony Stark's, Tony Stark goes back and says he's getting rid of his weapons department, which upsets his business partner slash the man who tried to get Tony Stark killed by hiring the terrorist, Obadiah, played by Jeff Bridges. Now, things are at heat with Tony, along with building the new Iron Man suit to help dedicate and save people's lives, closing down his weapons business, and reacting to his new heart that was implanted to him after a missile attack. He has to go through a bunch of misadventures and ultimately resolve the conflict. Now, this movie, it was the kickback starter of Robert Downey Jr. into an A-list position, which I adore. Because not only does Robert Downey Jr. make this film as Tony Stark, he becomes the person. He becomes this person we all know and love. And we don't think of him, oh, that's Robert Downey Jr., that's Tony Stark. He plays the role so well. He plays the role so well because he generally puts all his effort into it, because Robert Downey Jr. himself was not at a great time when doing this movie. He was getting off his drug habits. Nobody would hire him though. And soon, the MCU, along with director Jon Favreau, who plays Tony Stark's bodyguard, Happy Hogan, in the film, hired him as Iron Man. This got his career back to a comeback, and that's why Robert Downey Jr. has been in the most MCU movies 9 times, the others of which we'll get to later. Now, there are a few negatives in the film, that's why I'm going to go over them right now, and I'm going to explain all the positives. 1. The villain. Jeff Bridges does a great job as Obadiah, and most of the actors who play all the MCU villains do the same great. But here's the problem: he's forgettable. He has this whole idea to build another suit as for a weapon, but like before, he is kind of interesting. But when he puts that suit on, he just becomes normal big bad guy. I mean, it's a little. He's just boring throughout most of the movie and doesn't make an impact. Hell, he's not even revealed as the villain until like the later half of the movie, which I get they like having suspense, but it just didn't. They revealed it too late for him to make it interesting, and at that point it just felt a little boring. Another negative would be probably would be some of the story. Like some of the story it didn't feel necessary. Like it didn't feel too necessary to fill it in. Like Phil Coulson being in there. That just it. I get he's the guy who connects the Avengers together, but you have the end credit scene where Nick Fury makes it, so he just felt a little pointless. He doesn't do anything, and finally, this is the only time I'm gonna say this, but I did not like Pepper Potts that much. She just came out as kind of boring, and wasn't I mean, and wasn't too necessary to the plot except the ending. But besides that, she just didn't really make an impact on me. But Gwyneth Paltrow did a really good job. Okay, the positives. I adore I adore all actors, even if their characters aren't the best. Jeff Bridges, Terrence Howard, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Robert Downey Jr. all do their finest job at making this film fun, entertaining, and exciting. The visual effects, amazing. You that's usually one of the best things about a superhero movie, but this film takes a whole new kind of level with the visual effects, using them to their advantage with the Iron Man suits and some of the other actions that go on. They use the visual effects in the right place and practical effects in other right places. The direction by Jon Favreau plus his performance as Happy Hogan, it's genuine. He feels like a genuinely kind presence in the movie and outside the movie as he makes this movie fun and entertaining. But as I said before, the best part of this movie is Tony Stark himself and Robert Downey Jr. He makes this movie. I'm not saying the movie would be bad, but without Robert Downey Jr., half of this movie, like it would split the movie in half in greatness level if he wasn't in it. Every witty remark he makes, everything he does, every statement he makes, you would do it like it's hilarious, and you're with the character throughout because you adore him as a person, and you love his development throughout the film. It's really good, and it's honestly one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies. And this wasn't the film that got me into the MCU. We'll explain that later along the lines. This film, though, was a really good start, and was able to make a huge impact on me. And I adore it for that. But out of the greatness level, I give this an 8 out of 10. And another video I'll make after all this is over is my rankings of the MCU. I won't tell you where this is at now, but this film is amazing. Alright guys, thank you for tuning in and being with me again as I make my comeback, my malevolent return. Tomorrow, I will review The Incredible Hulk starring Edward Norton. Was it good? Was it bad? You have to wait exactly 24 hours. I hope you have the patience. Good night, everybody.